Hello artists, I am Mr. McCaffrey, and this class is called Introduction to Studio Art. Alright guys, today you're going to follow along with me in order to draw a picture of a scroll. A scroll is like a rolled up piece of paper, something like what the Declaration of Independence was written on, or Santa Claus's list of naughty and nice children, or most commonly perhaps, a pirate treasure map. Alright guys, we're going to start essentially with the letter S, but it's going to have a little spiral on the top and a little spiral on the bottom. Notice how large I've drawn this letter S. It almost fills up the whole entire paper. Very small amount of space at the bottom, very small amount of space at the top. Okay, now we're going to draw three relatively straight lines, and they're going to start at the top and the bottom of all the different curves of the S. Now, using the same curve that we started with, close up the top and the middle horizontal line. And using the curve that we made the middle section with and indenting it a little bit, we're going to draw a second curve. Notice that indentation, an extremely important part of drawing this scroll. Okay, now every time we get to the top or the bottom of one of those spiral curves, we're going to add a horizontal line, and we're going to stop drawing that line as soon as it hits any other line. And that's it. That's part number one, a scroll. I like to make my pirate treasure map be very jagged and torn up, so I'm just going to go through and I'm going to draw some jagged, torn lines along the edge of this scroll. And then I'm going to go through, and instead of drawing smooth lines, my lines are going to get a little bit more bumpy, a little more jagged, and it's going to have some tears. And that's just going to give us a little bit more of a texture to our treasure map. Okay, now we're going to spend a little time with our eraser, and we're going to erase out those original lines, which don't need to be there anymore now that we've added our tears and our jagged lines. If you have been drawing very lightly at the beginning, like we always should be, erasing these original lines will be easy. If they're difficult to erase, you need to start drawing a little bit lighter at the beginning. Okay, now the shading on the scroll is very important. But first, we have to draw whatever it is that we are going to draw on the scroll first. Mine is going to be a spooky pirate treasure map, but yours could of course be anything at all that you'd like to draw. The Declaration of Independence, a love letter, a recipe for a witch's brew, anything at all would be fine, as long as of course you've drawn it. Okay, now it's time to start shading. So we want a sharp pencil. We want to use the flat edge of that sharpened pencil. So we turn our pencil on its side, and I like to hold it towards the end because I think that makes it easier to hold it on its side. And again, we're going to start by drawing very lightly and shading in areas lightly and then gradually making them darker. Naturally, if we think about it, this paper has been folded, and so the areas that are inside of the folds are going to be darker than the areas that are outside of the folds, and that's of course because they're receiving less light. So again, we want to go slowly. We want to build up our dark shadow layers slowly and carefully. We want to use our finger to smudge our pencil so we can't see pencil lines, but just pencil values. And again, we're going to slowly and carefully build up some of these areas of shadow. Okay, so that's part 1. How to draw some parchment, some paper that's been rolled up and partially unfurled. Okay guys, so that was how to draw a scroll. So remember, what you draw on the scroll and what you draw around the scroll do not have to be the same as what I've drawn. But you do have to draw the scroll, and you do have to shade it in, and you do have to add things on top of it and around it. But the things on top and around, you get to make up. But the scroll itself, I've made up, and you need to copy. Okay, the final step, of course, is to add some extra details. Again, I've made a pirate map, so I'm adding some pirate details. There's a knife. Here's a candle. I'm going to put some stuff on the ground, some shadows, some stuff on the walls, some more shadows, some textures. And then, of course, you might recognize this flag from the last time we did one of these. Always okay to include things we've done in the past in drawings that we have finished in the future. Good luck.
Does my picture have to look like your picture?
No, definitely not. I want your art to be about you and to look like you.
Can my picture look like your picture?
Yes, of course. I'm an art teacher. You can absolutely copy what I've done.
What if my drawing isn't perfect? What if I'm terrible at art?
Well, no drawing is ever perfect, so we don't have to worry about that. What we do have to worry about is improving on our past performance.
Do I have to take a picture of this when I'm done?
Yes. Every single time you complete an assignment in this class, you must photograph it and turn it in on Google Classroom. Every single time. Whoa! You did it! You finished! All you have to do now is take a picture of your work and turn it in on Google Classroom.